Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. We've got the latest installment of The Line, some calls which I'm going to be covering, starting with Calais' call, calling in from Stockholm. Yes, it was a very long call. It went on for, I don't know, about 50 minutes. I can't possibly cover it all, so I'm just going to cover a few clips and we'll try and make some sort of sense of it. So let's start off and listen to how it opens.
Yeah, so I think I've looked at at the leading scientists. Well, I'm from Sweden, so my English is not good, so bear with me, please. If you don't understand, I can repeat. I will try my best, though. Yeah, like I said, I tried to look at the scientists, especially the leading scientists like Einstein, Newton, all of them. They are deists.
Oh, your signal just got really jumbled. You're gonna.
That's a shame. The most important part of what he was about to say just went in the ether.
Hang on, Calais. Your signal just got really jumbled, so I need you to back up a sentence or two. We lost you right after you were saying you were looking at scientists like Albert Einstein. Go on.
I'd just like to say, normally when a theist calls in and starts talking about scientists like Einstein, they usually start to argue that because these great scientists believe in God, then surely God does exist, because they're so smart, they're so clever, they know all about all the physics, and it's a good pointer to the existence of God if such incredibly intelligent scientists believe in God.
Yeah, so I was looking and see what they believed in, basically. And I found that the leading scientists were deists, not necessarily theists, but deists with D. And so I think that there's no way around God. I mean, no matter what theory, what hypothesis, whatever you...
So on the basis that these scientists, such as Einstein and Newton, believed in God, and obviously that's debatable. I know that Newton did. I don't really think that Einstein did believe in any kind of God whatsoever. But let's just supposing that these leading scientists do believe in God. This necessarily means that we cannot escape the conclusion that God exists. That seems to be where he's going.
Follow, I think that you would have to apply some of the attributes of God to that theory. And so for that reason, I don't think that you can go, there's no way around God. You'd always have to believe in some sort of a deistic God.
All right, let's stop there. Let's pause here.
Yeah.
I've got several things.
Yeah, Calais, let's say you're right, that leading scientists are usually deists. Now, I'll ignore the fact that Albert Einstein wasn't a deist. He expressed some pantheistic, he had some pantheistic expressions. However, there are other scientists like Stephen Hawking who would also use similar types of language, but then when actually asked more specifically about it, broadcasted that these are metaphors that they're using, and so he definitely his language and Hawking's.
It really irritates me that when I read popular science books, a lot of scientists, physicists, astrophysicists do use this language, that they're talking about the Higgs boson. Have we found the God particle? Finally, we've found God, etc., etc. And they're really talking about science. They're talking about the laws of physics. They're not talking about a personal God. They're not even talking about deistic God. It really irritates me because it misleads so many people and bolsters unjustified belief.
It was very similar. It wouldn't surprise me if it was for similar reasons. However, I don't know, so I'm not going to sit there and say he wasn't actually a pantheist. He never used that term, but he used sort of expressions. This idea that everything is God. He didn't believe in a creator God. He didn't believe in a God that interacts with people, a caring God or whatever. But that's not deism either. Hang on a second. But let's say you were right, and let's say that 98%, I don't know what the number is. It's definitely not 98%, but I'm going to give you a crazy number. Let's say 98% of the leading scientists, however we would categorize that, are deists. Would they be deists as a result of the science they are doing? As in, would they actually, with all of the other stuff that they're known for, the groundbreaking physics they present, the groundbreaking chemistry, the groundbreaking biology that they present, would it be the same mechanism that makes them tremendous in those fields that led to the conclusion of that deism? Or would it be something else like, hey, here's an unanswered question. I don't have proof for it, but I'm inclined to believe that there is something great.
I have to say that if 98% of the world's leading scientists, physicists, astrophysicists, etc., came out and said they believe in a deistic God, it would probably drive me to study more physics to see if I can find out why they've reached that conclusion. But because I know that the opposite is true, when I look at surveys, it tends to be the higher up in expertise you go, you get vanishingly few theists of any kind. I feel fairly confident that there's no need for me to sort of go there. But I can see where Jimmy's going with his argument. Let's hear more of it.
Later.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think there's more than that. I think they've read a lot of. I think, especially when you talk about these leading scientists, they're very, they have read philosophy. They're very.
You're not
familiar
answering. Hang
I
on,
think they
Calais.
yeah.
Answer my question. Is there?
So your question.
I'm gonna make it much simpler.
directly.
Hang on, I'll make it much simpler.
Yeah.
Is their conclusion of deism the result of actual scientific inquiry?
No, because they
Correct.
understand better. They understand one thing. There's a reason.
We might not necessarily know that's the case. If it was the case that 90% of the world's leading scientists believed in the existence of God, it may, for some of them, be due to scientific reasons, and for others, maybe not. I would say we don't really know the answer to that question because this is merely hypothetical. But obviously, for those small percentage that do believe in the existence of God, again, I don't know what the reasons are, whether they're scientific or whether they're non-scientific. That's my position. I would like to know their reasons. I've listened to some of the scientists who do believe in God talk about their beliefs. And for example, there's one who's a biologist who's quite high up, and he just simply asserts that abiogenesis just could not have happened without some kind of intervention, that it just doesn't happen in nature. It could never have happened. He's ruled that out. I think that's unscientific. It sounds scientific because he's making that claim. He's making a scientific claim that it could not have happened, but he's got no evidence to back that up. So I'm kind of neutral on that question about whether those 98% hypothetically would be believing in a deistic God for scientific reasons or not. I don't know, because it's just all hypothetical. And scientists may believe they've got scientific reasons for belief in the existence of God, but upon scrutiny, it may well be that they've got no such thing.
For that. They understand that the laws of nature, it breaks down in singularity and at the center of black hole. So
Okay.
the singularity,
First of all,
the
Calais.
laws of nature-
Okay, I'm going to stop there and we're going to move on, because now he's going right back to the beginning of time. He's going back to the singularity. He's going back to what Richard Dawkins, when he was asked by Piers Morgan, how did the universe start? What started it all? And Richard Dawkins just looked at him and just honestly said, we don't know. And we don't know enough. We know relatively little. And we're still trying to find out more. There's certainly not enough there about how the universe started, how existence came into being, or if it came into being at all. We know so little that whatever we do know, I can't really envisage that I would ever be able to reach such a big conclusion, such as that a God exists, based on how incredibly little we do know about how existence started or whether it started at all. Okay, well, let's move on anyway to the next part, the next clip. Okay, so yeah, Jimmy has just put to the caller that his best reason so far for believing in God is that he can't think of a reason not to believe in God, which I suppose is kind of true, but he's just going to rebut that and present some reasons.
Give you reason. I mean, I could go. You know what? Okay, why is there something rather than nothing then? I mean, we know from nothing comes, so there has to be something.
There it is. There it is. So,
These are such
can I
silly
throw
arguments.
some stuff out there
Yeah, go
really
ahead,
quick?
Go ahead,
This is probably 50% of people that call in with this old chestnut, something can't come from nothing. Nothing from nothing comes.
Yeah, just really quick.
Calais, no, you can't. We're not going to let you. Forrest is going to talk now to you, and then if he doesn't hit the points that I hit, I'll also address you're very tired, old, and silly. Why is there something rather than nothing? But I'm going to let Forrest go now.
Yeah. So just from the beginning, from the outset here, saying, well, all these scientists are deists, as if that means anything. First of all, when we talk about what scientists call God, you mentioned, Newton. Newton was a devout Christian for sure. But then you also mentioned Einstein. And
Okay, right. Forrest is not sort of directly addressing that, and he's talking about other stuff. But obviously, what he does go on to say, because I've listened to the call, is that we don't know that there was ever a nothing. And this really comes back to what I was saying before, that we know so incredibly little about the circumstances that led to everything that we've got today, right back to the beginnings, or whether there was really a beginning in the sense that we mean beginning. We know so incredibly little, so we can't really draw any conclusions from it. I'm going to move on to the next part of the video. Okay, so yeah, Calais has been throwing various names out there, among them Roger Penrose, which I must say for me always raises a red flag. But let's go on and listen.
Does it get to skip peer review? Why does it get to skip scientific testing? Why does it get to skip all of that shit when everything else doesn't? And we just go with therefore God. Why would it not be the most honest answer? I don't know, not therefore God.
Yeah. Okay. Can I answer now?
Yes.
Okay, so I was looking at a documentary with Ben Stein. I'm not a very big fan of him, but he said something very, very interesting there about Richard Dawkins. He said, look, this guy is prepared to...
Yeah, I've noticed with Calais that he does not directly address any single question. In this whole long call, he doesn't address... If he's asked a question, I don't know, something's already going on in his head, and he's ready to say that rather than listening to what Jimmy or Forrest is saying. And it's really frustrating. I'm surprised they lasted so long on this call with him.
Say, can you let me finish?
No, Kelly, if you're gonna whine about Kelly, if you're gonna whine about me not letting you finish, I just want to let you know ahead of time. You're quoting a documentary that people have already shown the way it has been edited to straight up. I know exactly what documentary you're talking about already because you said Ben Stein and Richard Dawkins. That documentary was shut the fuck up. I didn't say I know your point. I said I know what documentary, and I'm just letting you know. All right, so you're muted now because you can't take shut the fuck up for an answer and just wait for a second. You should know the documentary you are quoting from is a fucking fraud. It has been shown.
This is it's such a frustrating problem because I've got a friend who's a conspiracy theorist. And he always, for example, chemtrails, he'll watch dozens of chemtrails videos. He'll never watch a single video on debunking chemtrails. He will just only look at videos which already supports his own bias and his own pre-existing belief. And it's the same with Christians who don't believe in evolution, and they think that science, they think that physics can prove God. They never watch anything which contradicts their own point of view. So obviously Jimmy's pointing out that, you know, there's this video which has been edited to make it look like there's some kind of argument which has got some credence out there in the scientific world when it just hasn't. Okay, well, let's move on to the next part of the video. Yeah, on that last clip, I should have let it run a bit longer because the caller, Calais, complained that he said that he spoke to Matt Dillahunty on the previous week or 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said that was bad, but he more or less said, Jimmy, you're even worse. You won't let me talk. You're even worse than Matt. So yeah, he did say that. Okay, so we're just we're on the home straight now. Let's have a listen.
You know, calm down, Calais. I'm capable of managing my own outrage. Calais, the next words out of your mouth need to be what question I asked you when I took you off mute. What question did I ask? Otherwise, we're moving on. What question did I ask you?
You said, but that's the thing. You won't let me talk.
Yeah, you don't know. Goodbye, because you weren't listening. This is the. I don't need a.
Okay, there we are. Several complaints. So you won't let me talk. It's odd because when atheists call on, or actually when the bulk of people call on, really it's okay. It's only a small number who say you won't let me talk. I can't get my point out, etc., etc. He complained several times. He wouldn't answer any questions directly. He started off with argument from authority, with Einstein believing in God, etc., and telling lies as well, because if he did any decent research, he would know that Einstein didn't believe in any kind of God, even a deistic God. So yeah, he started off with argument from authority, argument from ignorance. Why is there something rather than nothing? If you can't explain that to me, then I'm just going to go ahead and believe in a God. I'm going to plug a God of the gaps. I'm going to plug a God into the gap. And it hasn't even been established that there ever was a nothing. Jimmy pointed that out. Why not just say, I don't know? Exactly. I mean, why is that so difficult for people to say? I don't know. I mean, in a way, it's the most satisfying thing to say, because you don't have to hold a stupid supernatural belief and plug that in irrationally. Why not just say, I don't know? Why cling on to a religion just because you don't know? And you need to have some kind of comfort that, well, you know, we can't know everything, and I need this. I need this as some sort of something to hold on to, because it just drives me crazy thinking about where the universe came from. Yeah, so that's about it, really. There wasn't much of substance at all, and nothing more to say about it. Just a very, very poor case for the existence of God, or a succession of fallacious arguments. If you watched it, let me know what you thought. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.